Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this critical update on the current state of affairs in the ongoing conflict between the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, ENDF, and Amhara Fano forces in various regions of the Amhara region. The situation remains fluid, and we have received the latest reports from multiple sources shedding light on the intense fighting that has unfolded in recent days. In the heart of central Gonder, specifically in Gondar city, the tension has escalated as Fano forces once again entered the city. The conflict has taken a grim turn, with ENDF soldiers reportedly employing heavy weaponry. Reports indicate significant losses on both sides, and the city remains a hotspot for intense confrontations. Fano sources assert their continued presence in numerous areas within Gondar city, with ongoing fierce engagements. Moving to Ambo-Weha near McCoy and Ansokia Gemza, reports of intense fighting have surfaced as Fano forces entered the town. The ANDF, alongside Amhara militia, is actively working to reclaim control from the Fano forces. Despite the clashes, Fano maintains its grip on the town, with skirmishes extending to the town's outskirts. In the central Gondar region, specifically in Murtso district, the conflict has persisted for a second consecutive day. Fano forces claim that ENDF has suffered substantial losses during the ongoing clashes, underscoring the gravity of the situation in this particular area. Venturing into southern Gondar, in Kema Dingai, fierce fighting near the police station and ENDF camp has resulted in heavy losses for the National Defense Forces, while some Fano forces sustained injuries during the confrontation. In northern Shua, Menze Mehalmeda has become a focal point of conflict, with Fano forces orchestrating an ambush on an NDF camp. This ambush led to significant casualties among the soldiers, with both Fano and ENDF forces reporting fatalities and injuries. Fano claims a notable toll on the ENDF soldiers in this particular engagement. Shifting the focus to southern Gondar, in the town of Makain Iesus, Fano forces entered with a sudden and forceful attack on ENDF soldiers before swiftly withdrawing from the scene, leaving behind a cloud of uncertainty and tension. In Debre Tabor, also situated in southern Gondar, a concerning turn of events has been reported, with ENDF soldiers allegedly seizing property belonging to Amhara civilians, claiming it as assets of Fano forces. This development raises questions about the conduct of military forces and the impact of the conflict on the local population. Further south, in Fesh and Ambomeda, near Addis Zeman in southern Gondar, Fano forces have inflicted heavy losses on Amhara militias, underscoring the relentless nature of the confrontations in this region. Moving to central Gondar, specifically in Mikael Deber near Beleza, a fatal gunfight between Fano forces and Amhara militias unfolded, resulting in the death of 3 militias and their commander. The escalation of violence in this area paints a grim picture of the toll on human lives. In western Beleza, near Golana district, clashes between Fano and Amhara militia have led to the tragic demise of 3 Amhara militias, further emphasizing the severity of the battles and their impact on local communities. Turning our attention to northern Gaint, in Senyogebia, an Amhara militia leader lost his life during a fierce encounter with Fano forces, adding another layer of complexity to the intricate dynamics of the conflict. In western Wello, specifically in Vegedi, a deeply personal tragedy unfolded as the brother of the police chief, who served as a police officer himself, was assassinated. This incident highlights the far-reaching consequences of the conflict, affecting not only military and militia forces, but also the lives of civilians caught in the crossfire. In a distressing turn of events in Debre Tabor, Est County, situated in southern Gondar, reports indicate a horrifying incident involving Amhara militias and Amhara riot police. Shockingly, 9 Amhara civilians, primarily youth, were allegedly murdered. The victims are named as Al Bishor, Getanet Jemba, Marke Mola, Tekla Adugnar, Indayu Tebeje, Biaje Befekadu, Doris Getanet, and Takela Hone. This tragic event underscores the complexity and brutality of the conflict, with civilians falling victim to internal strife. Moving to Rima and Deder in western Wello, the situation took a grim turn, as reports suggest that Abiy drone strikes resulted in the death of 12 Amhara civilians. The use of such tactics raises concerns about the impact on civilian populations caught in the crossfire. In Laydule, Boro, and Mersa in northern Wello, ENDF heavy shelling reportedly claimed the lives of 3 Amhara civilians, all belonging to the same family, who tragically lost their lives within the confines of their own home. The gravity of the situation is further highlighted by the death toll of 9 Amhara civilians in total in the broader Boro-Mersa region. In Gonder city, the Ethiopian Christmas celebration took a devastating turn, with final reports indicating that ANDF soldiers were allegedly responsible for the deaths of over 60 Amhara civilians. The scale of the tragedy adds another layer of urgency to finding a resolution to the conflict. Turning our attention to Gosh Badu and Chinbear in Debre Birhan, northern Shua, a harrowing gunfight between Fano forces and ENDF soldiers reportedly resulted in the deaths of 4 Amhara civilians, including a baby girl. This illustrates the indiscriminate toll exacted on innocent lives amid the intense clashes. In Menze, Mehad Meda, northern Shua, reports suggest that ENDF soldiers allegedly murdered 3 Amhara civilians, described as youth, on the streets, further emphasizing the vulnerability of civilians in the conflict zones. The town of Mehal Meda in northern Shua witnessed the tragic killing of a health worker in the hospital by ENDF soldiers, adding to the distressing impact on essential services in conflict-affected areas. Finally, in Webo, Wegedi, western Wello, ENDF shelling reportedly resulted in the death of 1 Amhara civilian farmer, with 2 others sustaining injuries. The collateral damage to civilians in such conflicts calls for urgent attention to protect innocent lives caught in the crossfire. As these distressing updates continue to unfold, it is imperative to recognize the gravity of the situation and advocate for swift and comprehensive measures to bring about a resolution and alleviate the suffering of the affected communities. The toll on civilians underscores the urgent need for diplomatic efforts to foster peace and stability in the region.